Imagine a dusty Alabama ledger, pages whispering secrets in the flickering lamplight.
17 girls, born from shadows, their hair a blaze of unholy fire, skin pale as death's veil.
No fathers claimed.
But one man's guilt stains every birth, a divine reckoning brewing in the cotton fields.
What if God's justice hunts the living and the dead? Pause, feel the chill yet?
Fade in on a cracked leather ledger, its spine groaning under the weight of unspoken sins. The ink bleeds like old blood on yellowed pages. Outside, the Alabama sun scorches the earth like the wrath of an Old Testament God, unforgiving, eternal.
Willow Creek, 1847.
A town clinging to the edge of the cotton kingdom, where the air tastes of sweat and secrets. Jasmine blooms choke the breeze, mingling with the metallic tang of plowed soil and the faint, acrid smoke from distant slave quarters.
Cicadas scream their endless hymn, a chorus of the damned.
Dr. Elias Thorne hunches over his desk, spectacles slipping down his sweat-slicked nose. His fingers tremble as they trace the entries: 17 names, 17 births, 17 echoes of a curse that defies the natural order. Each girl, hair like flames licking the horizon at dusk, red as the devil's whisper.
Skin so pale it glows in the moonlight, translucent as a shroud, veins mapping rivers of forbidden blood beneath.
Born to mothers with skin like polished ebony, eyes heavy with burdens no white man could fathom.
And fathers?
Vanished like ghosts at dawn.
Unknown. Unclaimed. Unavenged.
Thorne's office, a dim sanctuary of shadows and shelves bowed under medical tomes, Galen, Hippocrates, faded Bibles gathering dust. The wooden floor creaks under his pacing boots, each step a question mark etched in oak. Lamplight dances on the walls, casting elongated figures that twist like souls in torment. He pauses at the window, peering into the twilight haze. Beyond, the main street, a rutted scar of red clay, flanked by squat buildings that squat like watchful sentinels. The general store's porch sags under crates of molasses and salt pork, shadows pooling in the corners where whispers trade like currency. The brick bank looms, its iron bars glinting like the chains that bind this land. The courthouse, a temple of false justice, where scales tip eternally toward the powerful. And the church steeple pierces the sky, a finger pointing accusatorily at heaven, or perhaps pleading for mercy. The saloon's raucous laughter spills out, muffled by distance, a hollow mockery against the night's solemn hush. Thorne turns away, his reflection in the glass a gaunt specter, thinning hair matted, eyes hollowed by nights of vigil. He's 32 now, but the South has aged him like wine turned to vinegar. Arrived from Philadelphia's crisp halls in 42, dreams of scientific breakthroughs shimmering like fool's gold. Instead, a grind of fevers, fractures, and the ceaseless wail of laboring women. Sunstroke fells field hands like reaped wheat. Dysentery twists guts in slave cabins, dim and fetid, walls alive with the scuttle of vermin. He lances boils, stitches gashes from overseers' whips, marks that scar the flesh but brand the soul deeper. The white planters summon him grudgingly, their mansions perched on hills like pagan idols, columns gleaming white against blood-soaked fields.
They dose themselves with laudanum and folklore, calling Thorne only when death knocks.
But the enslaved, they eye him warily, a white man with tools that heal but never free. He delivers their children into a world of chains, tiny fists clenching at invisible bars.
In those moments, amid the cries and blood, Thorne glimpses the raw edge of humanity, vulnerable, defiant, divine.
It started innocently, a footnote in his ledger.
Spring, 1844.
Midnight summons to Beaumont Plantation, sprawling empire of Augustus Beaumont, a man whose shadow swallowed miles.
Hooves thunder through the dark, writer's face pale as the moon. Birth gone wrong, document hurry.
Thorne rides hard, horse foaming, the night air thick with fireflies winking like lost souls. The cabin, a stifling box of mud-chinked logs, no windows to let in mercy. Inside, Clara, barely 18, body racked by contractions. Her kin hover, faces etched in lamplight, murmuring prayers to a God who seems deaf.
Sweat slicks her brow, mixing with tears. Thorne kneels, sleeves rolled, instruments glinting coldly. Hours blur into agony.
He coaches, probes, urges. Finally, the child slips free, a gasp, a cry piercing the hush. He cleans her, checks limbs, heart's thunderous beat. Healthy. Whole.
But then, the hair. A crown of fire, red as molten iron from the blacksmith's forge. Skin milk-white, almost ethereal, as if woven from moonlight. Against Clara's deep brown arms, the contrast stuns like a biblical sign, perhaps the mark of Cain, inverted, a pale accusation in a world of darkness. A fine girl, Thorne murmurs, voice-catching. He bundles her, places her in Clara's embrace. Exhaustion wars with joy in her eyes, but beneath, a flicker of dread, like a storm cloud on the horizon. The father, he asks, casual, packing his bag. Silence descends, heavy as chains. Eyes drop to the dirt floor, packed hard by generations of bare feet. Ain't known, sir, Clara whispers, cradling closer. Just, ain't. Thorne nods, scribes the note, female, robust, anomalous pigmentation. A quirk, he tells himself. Genetics caprice, like freckles or twins. But 8 moons later, Oak Haven. Smaller spread, crumbling under debt's weight. Bess in labor too soon, frail frame heaving in a shack reeking of damp straw and despair. The baby emerges fragile, lungs weak. 3 days she clings, then fades like morning mist. But that hair, blazing red. Skin ghostly pale. Same question, same shadowed answer, don't know. Coincidence curdles to pattern. Third birth, Willow Bend Plantation, summer 45. Midnight storm rages, lightning cracking the sky like divine fury. Mother, Lila, strong-shouldered, eyes fierce. Child, another flame-haired phantom. Fourth, Crimson Ridge, autumn leaves blood-red underfoot. And on, relentless as the Mississippi's flood. By 47, Thorne's ledger swells 17 entries, a litany of the uncanny. He pores over them in solitude, candle guttering, shadows leaping like demons. Cross-references, dates align with plantation circuits, moons waxing full. Mothers, all. Young, all field hands, bodies marked by toil and worse. No red hair among them, no pale kin in their lines. Environment? Dismissed soil, water, sun can't paint such uniformity. Mutation? Improbable, clustered like this. The truth dawns slow, a poison seeping. One sire. White. Red-haired. Roaming free, unchecked. Access to all, broker, preacher, lawman? Power's cloak hides his deeds, society's silence his shield. Thorne's gut twists, biblical echoes haunt him. Like David's sin with Bathsheba, lust begetting death. Or Herod's innocence, slaughtered for a throne. These girls, living testaments to transgression, their pale skins a mirror to hidden shame. Guilt's progeny, wandering the earth like wandering spirits, seeking justice. Nights devour him. He paces, floorboards groaning like judgments. Crickets chirp accusations outside. Hounds bay in the distance, hunting phantoms. He envisions the perpetrator, face blurred in dreams, red hair aflame. Confrontation? Futile, denial, ruin. Exposure? Letters to Montgomery vanish into bureaucracy's maw. Violence? Thorne recoils, thou shalt not kill, etched in his soul. Yet poison vials glint in his cabinet, tempting like the serpent's apple. Society's web ensnares all. Antebellum South, a pyramid of power, apex white and male. Laws twist like vines, protecting the violator, punishing the violated. Rape? A farce property can't consent or accuse. Children, mere chattel, auctioned like cattle, their mixed blood a commodity, not a crime. Accuse, and the women suffer whipped, sold south, families shattered. Thorne knows, he's patched those wounds, seen eyes hollowed by loss. Empathy surges, for the mothers, vessels of forced legacy. Clara. Cradling her flame child, whispering lullabies laced with sorrow. Bess, burying her pale one under an unmarked stone, soul fractured. Their resilience, a quiet rebellion, faith in a higher judge. Perhaps these girls are divine arrows, piercing the veil. Redemption's harbingers, or retributions. Obsession grips. Sundays in church, pews creak under starched collars. Thorne scans heads, black, brown, gray. No blaze. Socials, mint juleps clink, laughter masks rot. He eavesdrops, who travels? Who boasts conquests veiled in jest?
Suspects narrow, Reverend Blackwell, sermonizing fire and brimstone, hair dark as sin.
Salesman Briggs, balding, jovial mask over wanderlust. Sheriff Hutchins, bearded shadow, enforcing order with iron. Cotton broker Finch, Finch.
Red hair like a signal flare, eyes sharp as ledgers, roaming plantations like a fox in henhouses.
Thorne freezes at the name, pulse thundering.
Finch, wealthy, connected, untouchable. Business takes him everywhere, negotiating, inspecting, lingering. Whispers trail him, dalliances dismissed as planter's privilege.
Could it be?
Evidence mounts like storm clouds, dates match his circuits, plantations his clients. Dread deepens, spiritual chill seeps in.
What if this is no mere man, but a vessel of darkness?
Sin incarnate, spawning a lineage of haunted souls. The girls, innocent, yet marked.
Will they inherit the curse? Pale skins drawing stares, red hair a beacon of otherness. In fields, they'll toil under the same sun that scorched their mothers, whispers following like ghosts. Or sold away, scattered like seeds of judgment. Thorne prays now, knees on cold floor. Lord, reveal the path. Silence answers, heavy as judgment. The ledger mocks from his desk a tome of revelations, waiting. He adds coded notes, symbols for sins, biblical references veiled. Psalm 51, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity. But cleansing? Elusive. Outside, night deepens.
Wind rustles cotton bolls, sounding like sighs of the oppressed.
Thorne extinguishes the lamp, darkness swallowing all but the glow of his resolve. The mystery festers, a wound unhealed. But in Willow Creek's stifled heart, a reckoning stirs, divine, inexorable. These girls, not anomalies, but omens. Hair of fire, skin of ice. Fathers unknown, but heaven watches. And justice, like the slow turn of seasons, approaches on silent feet. Cut to Alastair Finch's silhouette against a blazing Alabama sunset, his frame towering like a colossus carved from the red clay earth. Broad shoulders strain against tailored linen, voice booming like thunder rolling over cotton fields. Willow Creek bows to him, a man who commands rooms with a laugh that rattles windows, eyes sharp as a cotton gin's blades. Arrived in the late 1830s, pockets empty but mind a vault of cunning. Built an empire from whispers and deals, best prices in mobile, credit lines snaking to New Orleans. Indispensable. Untouchable. His hair? A crown of burnished copper, red as the flames of perdition, swept back from a forehead etched with ambition's lines. In church, he quotes proverbs on prosperity. At saloons, he toasts fortune's favor. But beneath, a shadow self, slithering through nights like the serpent in Eden. Dr. Elias Thorne's revelation strikes in Finch's opulent office, walls lined with ledgers fat as Bibles, air thick with cigar smoke and the faint, oily scent of ink. Afternoon light pours through tall panes, igniting Finch's hair into a halo of fire, unholy, mesmerizing. Thorne mid-sentence, prescribing tonics for a servant's fever. Words falter. Stumble. Cough masks the gasp. That shade. Exact. The children's blaze mirrored in this man's mane. Finch tilts his head, smile sly as Judas. Dost got your tongue, doctor? He playing tricks? Thorne mutters excuses, flees into the dusty street. Heart hammers like a blacksmith's anvil. Could it be? Finch elder, broker, icon, siring 17 shadows? Pillars of community crumbling in his mind's eye. Pieces cascade like dominoes in a storm. Finch's trade, a nomad's path, crisscrossing plantations. Overnight stays in guest quarters, dim with candle flicker, where boundaries blur in whiskey's haze. Bachelor life in a sprawling house on town's fringe, enslaved staff. Silent witnesses, bound by chains and fear. Charm like honeyed venom, persuades, seduces, evades. Connections spiderweb to Montgomery's halls, where laws bend for men like him. Impunity's armor, forged in society's forge. If any soul could weave such sin without unraveling, it's Finch. But Thorne? Man of empirics, not whispers. Demands proof, not phantoms.
Ledger becomes his scripture, dates inverted, conceptions mapped like constellations. 9 moons back from each birth, Finch's shadow falls.
Rounds intensify.
Buggy rattles over rutted paths, pines whispering secrets in the wind.
At Beaumont, casual query over sutures. Finch here lately? Overseer nods, tobacco juice staining beard. I document negotiated bails, stayed till dawn. Matches Clara's girl. Oak Haven, amid fever treatments, when the broker last call? Widow owner sighs, fan fluttering. Harvest Eve, dined late. Aligns with Bess's fragile one. Willow Bend, post-childbirth, Finch's visits frequent? Planter chuckles, pipe puffing. Cards and brandy, overnight. Pattern emerges, damning is Cain's mark. Circumstantial? Yes. But relentless as plagues on Pharaoh, visits every time, business veiling baser pursuits. Certainty coils in Thorne's chest, a serpent of dread squeezing breath. Truth unveiled, years of violation, systemic as the auction block. Community's blind eye? Complicit veil. Weight crushes. He withdraws, once mild demeanor now a shroud of silence. Landscapes mock, vibrant greens of pine forests, golden cotton seas under azure skies. Beauty's facade overwrought. One afternoon, Buggy halts by a shaded brook, water murmuring like forgotten prayers. Horses snort steam and heat. Thorne rummages bag, not for scalpel, but flask. Whiskey burns, fleeting fire against inner chill. Audacity appalls. Finch, no guilt? Compartmentalized souls, viewing enslaved as chatteled bodies for use, like fields for harvest. Biblical echo, masters as false gods, idolizing power. Does he see his progeny as blessings or burdens? Or mere echoes, discarded like husks? Mothers haunt him. Clara, resignation etched in sweat-slicked features, cradling her flame child in cabin gloom. Bess, burying her pale ghost under a crooked cross, earth clumping on tiny shroud. Sarah, defiant gaze amid contractions, whispering African hymns. Eliza, tears silent as she nurses under moonlight. Martha, calloused hands trembling. Lucy, young, broken too soon. Each a Magdalene, sinned against yet bearing the cross. System's cruelty, no recourse, voices silence like prophets in exile. Thorne trapped witness to iniquity, mute as stone. Proof? Useless in courts of kin and cronies. Justice? A mirage in this desert of disparity. Autumn 1848, harvest revel at Beaumont Plantation. Grand ritual of excess, Augustus Beaumont's domain sprawling like Babel's tower, manicured lawns, verandas pillared white. Air heavy with roast pork, apple pie's cinnamon warmth, tobacco's acrid curl. Enslaved musicians coax melodies from fiddles, notes drifting like souls seeking escape. Laughter rises, glasses clink under strung lanterns. Thorne attends reluctantly, social chains bind tighter than iron. Stands peripheral, punch tepid in hand, eyes scanning like a watchman's lantern. Finch center stage, linen suit crisp, hair aglow in torchlight, a false prophet amid apostles. Regales with mobile tales, laugh echoing like thunderclaps. Planters orbit, toasting his empire. Thorne watches, bile rising. How? Ease born of entitlement, conscience cauterized. Shame? Buried deep as unmarked graves. Society's alchemy turns atrocity to privilege. Then, a girl approaches, tray silver gleaming, drinks amber in crystal. 7, perhaps 8, house servant, dress starched but threadbare, hair ribbon neat. But that mane, red as autumn blaze, vivid against ebony skin. Clara's daughter. Thorne's first delivery, now sprite-like, curious eyes veiled by training. Offers refreshments, gaze floorward. Men grab glasses, chatter unbroken. But Finch pauses. Eyes lock. Flicker recognition? Paternity's ghost? Shadow crosses features, unreadable as ancient runes. Then, smile blooms, warm as summer's deceit. Hand extends, pats her head, fingers lingering in fiery locks. Well done, little one. Voice soft, almost tender. She curtsies, vanishes into night. Gesture sears Thorne, ownership casual as a brand. Acknowledgement veiled in public, impunity's arrogance. He knows. Cares not. Or cares so minimally, parades it secure in silence's pact. Community complicit, planters profit from his deals, wives gossip but avert eyes, sheriff turns blind, preacher thunders virtue yet dines at his table. Shield of solidarity, preserving the pyramid, white apex, black base crushed. Nausea surges. Thorne sets glass down, clink lost in din flees veranda's glow, into shadow's embrace. Air cools, jasmine now nauseating, sweet rot. Breathes ragged, heart a war drum. Dr. Thorne? Voice startles, low, resonant. Era, Beaumont's midwife, emerges from gloom. 60 winters etched in her face, silver hair haloed under scarf. Eyes ancient wells of wisdom, hands knotted from countless births. Assisted Thorne myriad times, her lore surpasses texts, intuition divine is a healer's gift. You Eileen? Concern threads her tone. Fine, he lies, voice strained. Air. She nods, unblinking. Burden on you, documents seen it grow and dot. Hesitation. Era, enclave's keeper, secrets her scripture. If any soul comprehends? The children, he ventures, words weighted. Red-haired ones. You've birthed many? Expression stoic, but eyes weary, caution's veil, survival's forge. Yes, sir. Do you know the father? Silence stretches, taut as whipcord. She gazes back at revelry, Finch's laugh pierces night, mockery's blade. Some truths, she whispers, best buried. For mothers. Children. Voice steel soft. Speak and don't free. Cells M downriver. Or graves M. Frustration boils. But wrong. He must, she cuts, sharp as sickle. Must what? Accuse? Justice? Head. Shakes, resignation profound as jobs trials. No, documents suffering multiplies. Mothers whipped. Babes auctioned, kin shattered. Truth lands heavy, intervention is peril. Good intent paving hell's road. Thorne deflates, flask tempting again. But era's gaze pierces, shared burden, unspoken alliance. Nights worsen. Thorne's chamber, bed unmade, books strewn like fallen leaves. Candle sputters, shadows writhe on walls, demonic dance. Dreams plague, red-haired girls marching, eyes accusatory, hair aflame like burning bushes. Finch laughs eternal, face morphing to beast. Wakes sweat-drenched, Bible clutched, psalms of lament, how long, O Lord? Redemption eludes. Perhaps these children, divine instruments. Pale skins as lambs for sacrifice, red hair as signals of unrest. Legacy haunting, sins of fathers visiting generations, as Exodus warns. Winter creeps, frost etching windows like fragile veins. Thorne's practice falters, hands tremble in surgeries, mind wanders mid-diagnosis. Patients whisper, docs touched. But obsession deepens. He sketches timelines, hidden in ledger's margins, Finch's circuits like a reaper's path. Spiritual chill, is Finch marked? Red hair as Esau's ruddy curse, birthright stolen in wombs unwilling. Or Lucifer's fall, pride birthing monstrosities. Thorne prays fervent, knees bruised on floorboards. Guide me. Heaven silent, but wind howls answers, justice slow, but mills grind fine. One eve, storm lashes Willow Creek, rain biblical torrent. Thorne at desk, quill scratching coded confessions. Knock echoes urgent, spectral. Door creaks, soaked rider, eyes wild. Birth at Crimson Ridge. Complicated. Rides into deluge, cloak sodden, thoughts churning. Arrives, cabin thunderlit, mother wailing. Another girl emerges, hair red as storm's fury, skin pale as lightning's flash. Father? Unknown. But ledger whispers, Finch visited 9 moons past. Cycle unbroken. Thorne's soul fractures. Empathy for victims swells, mothers as unsung martyrs, children as innocents bearing crosses. Perhaps his role, chronicler, not avenger.
Testament for future eyes, when chains shatter.
Spiritual solace, divine retribution waits, like Sodom's fire. Finch's empire? Built on sand. These girls, seeds of upheaval, their existence a quiet prophecy. Yet doubt gnaws. Inaction as sin? Complicity's chain binds him too. Era's words echo, suffering's multiplier. He resolves, observe, record, endure.
But in heart's depths, a spark, redemption's ember, waiting wind.
Era's words linger in the torchlit dark, heavy as iron chains dragged across Beaumont's veranda.
Mr. Finch, he'll go right on.
Her voice a cracked bell tolling midnight truth.
That's how this world works, Doctor. Thorne feels the blade twist, deep, merciless.
Idealism bleeds out on jasmine-scented air. She's right. The pyramid stands unyielding, white apex untouched, black base crushed beneath. Speak? Unleash whips, auctions, separations. Silence, survival's cruel covenant. So we do nothing?
His whisper hollow as an empty tomb.
Era's eyes soften, ancient wells reflecting centuries of endurance. We survive. Love those children. Raise them strong. Remember. She pauses, gaze piercing soul deep. You a good man. Bear witness. Write it down. Someday, words might matter. She melts into shadow, leaving Thorne alone under indifferent stars. The revelry behind him swells, Finch's laugh a demon's chorus. Inside, something fractures. Hope's last ember gutters. Years stretch ahead like a Via Dolorosa, each step agony. Fade through seasons, dogwoods blooming blood red, cotton bursting white as false purity, frost etching windows like skeletal fingers. Thorne endures. Practice mechanical, set bones, lance fevers, deliver babes into bondage. Ledger swells, 1852, 23 girls. Scattered seeds of one man's transgression. Each birth a fresh crucifixion. He watches them grow in stolen glances. Clara's daughter, spirited, eyes flashing defiance, red mane wild as prophecy. Others withdrawn, pale skins luminous in cabin gloom, sensing the unspoken curse. Community divides, some enfold them grandmothers braiding fiery locks, whispering ancestral strength. Others avert eyes, the children's existence a walking wound, reminder of violation's permanence. Finch ascends. Council seat claimed, church elders robe donned. Donations flow, schoolhouse rises, fireworks burst forth of July skies, red glares mocking hidden sins. Pillar of virtue. Model citizen. Hypocrisy's masterpiece. Thorne watches from shadows, ritual of torment. Stomach knots eternal. Whiskey becomes communion amber oblivion in cut-glass tumblers. Nights blur, office dim, candle sputtering, ledger open like a wounded Bible. Entries coded, dates, plantations, conceptions aligned with Finch's circuits. Hands tremble now. Patients notice, docs distant. Whispers spread, strain broke him. Reputation crumbles like dry earth. He cares not. What is name against such rot? Spring 1854. Midnight summons, McIntyre Plantation. Buggy jolts through moonless dark, pines clawing sky. Hannah young, resilient, labor stalled. Cabin reeking of blood and fear. Thorne works frantic, hands slick, brow beaded, prayers muttered under breath. Hours bleed away. Strength ebbs. Finally, stillness. Mother slips beyond veil, child stillborn, tiny form crowned in wet red fire. Devastation crashes. Losses before, yes, medicine's brutal tax. But this, judgment. Hannah sacrificed on altar of unchecked lust. Thorne's inaction complicit. He wraps the infant, places beside cooling mother. Tears fall unashamed. Burial dawn, slave cemetery, unmarked mounds under twisted oaks. Enslaved gather, voices rise in spirituals, sorrow woven with defiant hope. Soon will be done, with the troubles of the world. Thorne stands periphery, hat clutched, tears carving channels through dust on cheeks.
Grief not just for Hannah, child, but all silent sufferers.
System's crushing wheel. His impotence. Raw lament rises within. Why, Lord? How long? Resolve crystallizes, cold as grave soil. He rides straight to town, heart armored in desperation. Finch's office, mahogany gleaming, ledgers fat with profit.
Broker looks up, smile practiced as Sunday sermon.
Doctor.
Pleasure falters at Thorne's wild eyes, disheveled grief.
You well? Hannah died. Flat. Accusatory. McIntyre. Her child too.
Finch's mask shifts, concern feigned.
Tragic. Complications?
The child had red hair.
Silence descends, thick as Judgment Day. Thorne's gaze locks on Finch's mane, blazing even in dim light. Like all the others. 24 now. Your visits. 9 moons prior. Every time. Room stills. Wagon rattles distant. Finch's eyes harden, geniality sloughs like serpent skin. Implying what, exactly? I know. Voice shakes, fury righteous. Rape. Decade of it. Children scattered. Hannah dead because of you. Finch rises slow, towering. Shadow engulfs Thorne. Voice low, venomous calm. Careful. Slander destroys. Amused edge, genetics mysterious, doctor. Coincidence. Thorne surges, depravity. Disregard for life. Laughter harsh, mirthless. Proof? None. Speak this, threat coils ruin you. Practice ended. Town exile. Understand? Truth crashes, powerless. Single voice against empire. Courage dissolves, despair's bitter tide. Get out. Dismissal final. Forget, or lose everything. Thorne flees, legs trembling, soul shattered. Confrontation, defeat. Silence weaponized. Turning point. Withdrawal deepens. Practice dwindles, patience flee whispers, Thorne's mad. Office tomb, dust thick, books splayed, whiskey bottles sentinel. Days blur pouring ledger, confessional pages. New entries stab, another birth, another mark. Hope abandoned. Only era's charge, bear witness. Document. Ledger evolves, margins filled with scripture, the cries of the innocent ascend. Psalms of lament. Silent scream etched in ink. Summer 1857. July heat oppressive, air shimmering like mirage over hell. Door creaks unexpected. Young woman, 25, traveling suit crisp despite dust, bonnet framing intelligent eyes. Miss Abigail Winters, she announces, voice steady as northern resolve. Teacher. Boston Missionary Society. Thorn-weary abolitionists and dangerous as gunpowder in Alabama. Tar and feathers await such. Hostility certain.
Yet persistence shines, quiet fire unquenched.
He relents, ushers into gloom. She sits composed amid chaos, ledgers, bottles, despair's residue. Traveling south, she explains, hands folded. Documenting slavery's truths.
Not for now, climate too hostile.
For history.
When this evil falls, world must know full measure.
Thorne pours whiskey, none offered.
Voice rasps, noble.
Dangerous.
She leans forward, eyes earnest.
I've heard whispers, doctor. Of children, unusual. Red-haired, pale. Born enslaved.
Patterns spoken in shadows.
Heart stutters. Ledger hidden, yet. What do you know? Rumors reach even north. A broker. Violations hidden. Community silence. Pause waited. You see much. Deliver many. If true, record vital. For reckoning. Thorne stares, whiskey glass trembling. Years of isolation. Burden shared? Or trap? Finch's threat echoes, ruin. Yet Era's words resurface, someday words matter. Abigail continues soft, not asking confrontation. Just truth preserved. For mothers. Children. Future eyes. Silence stretches, thick with possibility. Candle flickers, shadows dance like restless spirits. Thorne's hand drifts to drawer, ledger beneath. Confessional. Testament. Spiritual tremor, perhaps divine timing. Like Esther, for such a time. Or prophets bearing unwelcome scrolls. Bearing witness evolving, solitary vigil to potential revelation. He draws breath, ragged. Sit, he murmurs. Story long. Terrible. Outside, cicadas scream endless. Inside, dam begins crack, slow, inexorable. Truth stirs in darkness, waiting light. Red-haired daughters toil fields, unaware their stories inked by broken man. Finch prospers still, blind to gathering storm. But heavens watch. Justice sleeps not forever. Ledger waits, gospel of the silenced, seeds of upheaval. Reckoning approaches, distant thunder on horizon. Divine mills grind slow, but exceeding fine. The office hangs heavy with summer's dying breath, July 1857, air thick as molasses, cicadas droning like a funeral dirge outside cracked windows. Dr. Elias Thorne sits slumped, whiskey's amber glow catching the last light, his face a map of ravines carved by 13 years of silent torment. Across from him, Abigail Winters, Boston steel in her spine, eyes clear as northern ice. She waits. Patient. Unyielding. Perhaps dangerous, she concedes softly, but necessary. Thorne's pulse thunders. Rumors reached her, whispers threading north like smoke from burning fields. Children, distinctive. Era spoke of him. Kindness. Keen eye. Heavy stone. He searches her face, provocateur or prophet? Why me? Because you delivered them. Direct. Disarming. Because you're a man of conscience, drowning in what you've seen. Silence swells, broken only by a fly battering the pane, trapped, like him. Slowly, deliberately, drawer creaks open. Ledger emerges, cracked leather, pages brittle as communion wafers. He opens to the litany, dates, plantations, births. Ink faded yet indelible. 27, he breathes, voice cracking like dry earth. 13 years. All girls. Fiery red hair. Skin pale as moonlit marble. All enslaved mothers. One father, unspoken. Abigail leans in, breath catching. Scans columns of quiet accusation. Do you know his name? Venom rises. Alastair Finch. Name spat like poison fruit. Cotton broker. Access everywhere. Power shields him. Community guards the secret, active silence, passive complicity. All stained. She writes carefully, notebook small, pen precise. Mothers named him? He shakes head, weary. Silence is armor. Speak? Whipped. Sold south. Families shattered. Their only weapon. Understanding deepens in her eyes. May I copy these records? Confidential. For history, when this evil falls, truth must stand. Ledger, his last anchor, proof against madness. Relinquish it? Like surrendering soul. Yet what has it availed? Deeper despair only. Era's echo, someday, words matter. Yes. Barely sound. Copy them. Hours pass. Pen scratches rhythmic as heartbeat. Pages rustle like dry leaves. Whippoorwill cries distant, mournful. Candle gutters, shadows lengthen. She finishes, closes notebook, grave as sealing a tomb. At door, Dr. Thorne, bearing witness matters. Truth has eternal value. Someday, because of you, they'll know. She vanishes into twilight. Thorne alone again. Ledger open, empty now, burden shared, yet relief absent.
Hopelessness deeper, Finch untouched.
Cycle unbroken.
More red mainies destined for fields.
Fade to winter 1859. Snowdusts Alabama rare, fleeting mercy.
Thorne dies alone in his small house, practice long cold, reputation ash.
Heart failure, official.
Truth, spirit shattered, slow hemorrhage of hope. Possessions auctioned, instruments scattered, books claimed, furniture hauled away.
Ledger tossed into box, miscellaneous papers, courthouse attic bound. Forgotten. Funeral sparse. Alastair Finch attends, gray-streaked red hair, face solemn mask. Stands graveside as Reverend Blackwell intones platitudes. No guilt flickers.
Conscience cauterized long ago. Red-haired daughters multiply 31 by 1861, ages infancy to 17.
Some sold south, swallowed by anonymity. Others remain, toiling under same relentless sun, fiery crowns marking them apart, silent questions in every glance. War erupts, thunder of cannons, fields aflame, old order crumbling like Jericho's walls. Reconstruction chaos, freedom hard-won, scarred.
Many red-haired young women flee north, west, ghosts shed.
Others root deeper, rebuilding on blood-soaked soil. Truth trickles to some, midwife's whisper, servant's deathbed murmur, mirrors cruel reflection. Devastation or quiet knowing. Never acknowledgement from Finch.
Never inheritance, apology, glance of paternity.
Invisible. Erased.
Finch endures war's ruin, fortune evaporated, cotton empire dust.
Lives diminished decade more, relic in changed world. Dies 1875-73. Peaceful. Obituary lauds, philanthropist, visionary, community pillar.
No mention of 31 shadows.
Secret buried with him, or so believed. Ledger sleeps in courthouse attic, decades gathering dust like forgotten sins. 1923, renovation. Young clerk unearths box, intrigued by precise script.
County historian Margaret Thornton receives it, meticulous woman, truth seeker.
Months pouring, cross-referencing deeds, Bibles, oral histories. Descendants found, scattered, wary. Story reconstructs, systematic violation, power's grotesque fruit. 1925, paper presented at conference. Ripple in academic waters, discomfort, fascination. Descendants of planters recoil, suppress. Paper shelved, controversial. New South prefers magnolias over graves. Yet truth persists, stubborn as kudzu. Copies circulate underground, historians, scholars. Footnote grows, stark emblem of slavery's intimate horrors, absolute power's corruption, silences complicity. In attics, family Bibles, whispered bloodlines, descendants carry knowledge. Burden and birthright. Red hair fades generations, but memory endures. They know. Thorne never knew. Died convinced records meaningless, truth entombed with him. Never saw ledger rise like sealed scroll opened in Revelation's vision. Never witnessed contribution to broader reckoning, understanding slavery not abstract institution, but lived crucifixion of bodies, spirits. He never knew his act, simple, stubborn documentation, became sacred. Bearing witness, holy vocation when swords fail. Like prophets recording Babylon's sins, exiles preserving names. The red-haired girls were real. Mothers real. Suffering etched in flesh, soul. Justice denied in lifetime, yet existence endures, defiant flame against erasure's night. History not merely victor's parade. Also silenced voices, erased names, unmarked graves. Their story, indictment of cruelty, hymn to resilience. Challenge to inheritors, break silence, remember, ensure never again. Truth, once inked, refuses oblivion. Slow as divine justice, grinding exceeding fine, eventually surfaces. Ledger outlived doctor, perpetrator, empire. Outlived romanticized lies. 31 daughters, countless more unnamed. Their pale skins, fiery crowns, marks not of shame, but testimony. Heaven's quiet arrows, loosed across generations. And somewhere, in archives yellowed, bloodlines thinned yet unbroken, flame still burns. Waiting. Accusing. Redeeming. The past never dead. Never even past. Lives and stories we dare tell.
Truths we refuse bury.
Lessons we finally heed.